As I was looking through the news this morning, I came across a story about a very scary situation that just happened up in North Braddock, Pennsylvania. Now, this entire situation was actually caught on video, and we'll watch the video in just a moment. But first, let me just say this. This is one of those stories that, regardless if you're a religious person or not, and I'm not the most religious person in the world, but this is one of those stories that will make you believe in a higher power. This is one of those stories it makes you believe that either a tremendous amount of luck was involved or there was some type of divine intervention. Maybe it just wasn't this guy's time. I don't know. But a pastor by the name of Glenn Germany was in the middle of giving a sermon. Everything was going normal. There was nothing awkward about the situation. There was nothing different about the day. It was just, business as usual. Everyone's in church. The pastor is up there giving his sermon. And then here is what happened next.
In a whole different kingdom than God. And God had chose.
Jesus! Jesus!
After a man allegedly pointed a gun at a local pastor during a Sunday service. There's a deadly shooting inside that man's home. And right now, police are working to sort this all out.
And our Megan Shin joins us live in Green Tree. Megan, a lot of questions remain here, and if there is a connection.
David and Lindsay, a lot of questions indeed, but I'll tell you what we do know. According to the criminal complaint, Pennsylvania State Police say that 26-year-old Bernard Polite is charged with multiple charges, including aggravated assault and attempted homicide. They say that he pulled a gun inside of Jesus's dwelling place church shortly after 1 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday, and police say Polite attempted to shoot Pastor Glenn Germany while he was delivering a sermon. Now, video shows the moment the pastor found himself staring down the barrel of a gun. But the gun didn't fire. Deacon Clarence McAllister then tackled Polite to the ground. Pastor Germany says he spoke to Polite while he was in police custody, and the pastor says Polite apologized to him, so Germany forgave him. But keep in mind, this all happened in front of the pastor's 14-year-old daughter.
It was like, this is not happening. And I thank God, because only God stopped and jammed this gun. This guy was just dealing with spirits, he said, and he came in and he wanted to shoot somebody.
Pastor Germany says Polite faces mental illness. Now Germany is hoping to use the story to stress mental illness is real. Shortly after this unfolded at the church, though, police made a discovery at Polite's home. Officers from the Eastern Regional Mon Valley Police Department were called about a shooting along Stokes Avenue around 8 last night. And when police arrived, they found a man shot to death inside of the home. The victim in this shooting has not yet been identified, and it's unclear if Polite is responsible at all for the shooting inside of that home on Stokes. And we do know that the Allegheny County Police Department is leading the investigation into that deadly home shooting.
So what say you, folks? Was Pastor Glenn Germany just extremely lucky that day? Did the gun jam because it was faulty and these things just happened? Or did Pastor Glenn Germany have God with him that day? I know that things happen, but I would like to believe that the pastor had God with him that day. And I can't imagine how he feels right now. I imagine that he's even stronger in his faith now than ever. Imagine being a pastor and not being a false prophet, a crappy person like some of the pastors we've talked about over on my other channel. But imagine actually being a good person. Someone who actually practices what you preach. Imagine being a dedicated man of God, a dedicated man to your religion, and then something like this happening. You know what I mean? It kind of just reaffirms all your beliefs, because he is extremely lucky to be alive today. But the man who did this, as you heard, he claims that he was battling with mental health issues. We have another death that possibly happened at a different location, and that's another story that we may get into in a future video. But right now, I think this video is a perfect example of the battle that we are going through right now in today's world. You know, throughout the span of time, there's always different wars, and they have different names. You have the Civil War, you have the French-Indian War. You know what I mean? You got all of these different wars and battles. But the real battle that has been fought since the beginning of time is the battle between good and evil. And in today's day and world, people are so sheltered, and or at least some people in some portions of the world are so sheltered. And, you know, with pop culture and movies and comic books, you got your Star Wars and stuff, you know, it seems like in today's day and age, a lot of people believe that the battle between good and evil is just something from fairy tales. The battle between good and evil, the battle between the light and the darkness is just something you see in sci-fi movies. But no, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why people have been writing about the battles between good and evil, the reason why damn near every single story you read is about the battle between good and evil, is because we are in that battle every single day. Every day when you open your eyes, you are fighting that battle, regardless if you know it or not. Regardless if you know it or not, we are all involved. We are all soldiers and active participants. And I want you all to understand, I am not necessarily saying this or trying to approach this from a religious angle, because as I said earlier, I'm not the most religious person. But you don't have to be a religious person. You don't have to believe in this God or that God or this religion to understand that there are forces at play on this earth as we speak. Forces of good and forces of evil. And there's been a tug of war between these two forces since the beginning of time. And right now, it looks like the side of evil is kind of winning this battle, winning this tug of war. But in little moments like what we saw in this video, it shows you that the light is still shining through. It shows you that even when you're up against unsurmountable odds, even when you're up against the face of evil, sometimes good can and will prevail. So I say all of this because I feel like a lot of people have been black-pilled lately. A lot of people feel like there's no hope. There's no hope for society. There's no hope for the future. Everything is going to crap. Everyone is acting crazy. And I can agree with most of that. But I'm also still optimistic. Because I know that all of this, when you boil it down, you could try to add political labels. You got these new faces, these new politicians, whatever. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's still the original battle. The original battle that's been fought since the beginning of time, the battle between good and evil. And I don't think that battle is ending anytime soon. There may be small victories won on either side, but I feel like we still have the opportunity to turn things around. And hopefully, the powers out there in the universe, God, whatever God you believe in, whatever higher power there may be, hopefully they're with us in this battle. Let's just say that. So I do believe that the good will outshine the bad in the long run, but I don't know how much bad that we will have to go through before we get to that point. And to bring it to a more grounded level, this is also another example of just the pure and utter chaos, the unlawfulness, and the mental illness that is running rampant through our streets. And every video like this, it keeps adding up. And yeah, Pastor Glenn, he is extremely lucky. Regardless if it was luck or God or what it was, he is extremely lucky to be alive today. Many people who have been put in his position aren't as lucky as him. So I feel like when we have these moments, it should be almost more impactful than if that gun actually did work. Because when we have these moments, we should be thankful that it didn't work. And we should make steps to ensure that things like this don't happen. That guy who ran in there suffering from mental health issues, wanting to take someone's life, he should have never been on the streets. And the scary part is that people like him who do things like him, they're put right back out there on the streets by our elected officials. So things need to change. And hopefully the ball starts rolling. And I really do believe that the pendulum is swinging. I believe that the tide is turning, and we need to capitalize on that now. But as far as Glenn goes, Pastor Glenn, I am happy you're here. I hope that you go on to preach your word, and I hope that you're a good man, and I hope that this gives you a new perspective on life, because I think that the people watching this video have been affected by this video in a positive way as well. But with all of that being said, let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all soon in the next one.